Now, you'll remember sometime during the year we told you that the Macroom ICA Guild closed for the last time. Now, that happened last April, and I think at the time we promised you that we'd bring along some members to talk about the ICA since its foundation here in Macroom. I have with me three ladies who would obliged us by coming along today. This is Sheila Sheehan here, and Mrs. Peggy Buckley, who of course is a founder member of the ICA, and Katie Deneen, who has been a member. She's the youngest of the whole lot, but we'll find out that maybe being a young member isn't so young after all. She's young herself, of course, she's young at heart in every way, but certainly has given a great service to the ICA in Macroom. I'm going to start actually with you, Peggy, because you are a founder member. You remember the very first meetings, do you?
Well,
Not the very first meetings.
First meeting was up in the town hall.
Yes.
And the countrywomen of the world came to Macroom.
Yes.
And we were up there. Charlie Foley and Donald, I think, were playing for him. But anyway, those women wouldn't dance at all, like on their own.
These were the women of the world?
The women of the world.
Yeah, who were they now?
Yes,
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anyway, they wouldn't go out dancing at all, so Charlie pulled the plug anyway and walked out and left them there.
All right. Yeah. Do you know any idea how many people were there at the
There was
time?
a bus load.
Was there?
There was
Yeah.
about 50 or whatever.
Came in from somewhere else, is
From
it?
other part. They visited Ireland, like, in general.
I see. It was an international organisation.
Yeah. That's the first of the ICA that I remember.
Okay. When, do you know any idea when that was?
God, I'm 45 years in it.
Yeah, so it is
It is
before that again.
before that.
Was it there a good few years before you joined, do you think? It was founded, of course, in 1910, I think, the
Yeah.
ICA.
Yeah.
Oh yes, that's the
Yeah,
Macroom one.
yeah, but not the
Versions.
Macroom one. Yeah. When was the Macroom one founded,
Macroom was
Sheila?
1954.
1954.
Yeah.
Okay, just staying with that now, Peggy, for a while. How did that develop then into the Macroom branch of the ICA?
Well, we bought the little hut, you know,
Yes,
and
that's down the castle grounds, down
Yeah,
next to the
yeah,
vocational
yeah.
school. Yeah.
the vocational school left us use the site. But they still owned the site, like.
Yes.
So we built it there anyway, and the castle fell in it eventually.
You were
And
lucky, weren't you, to build
We were,
that?
yeah, very
Yeah.
lucky.
We might come to that in a minute.
Yeah.
How many members turned up for the ICA that were joined?
It was
roughly?
120, I think.
120 of you
Yeah.
inside in that hut.
Yeah.
It was a fair
So-
achievement.
it was.
Must have been like sardines in a tin at that stage,
No,
was it?
no, it was grand.
Was it? Well, of course, they wouldn't all be there
They
every
were down
night.
together.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
wouldn't be there every night.
But we did Trojan work for Macroom.
Did you?
We did.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
We did Macroom Show. We did cancer research. Everything.
Yeah.
Coffee mornings. All the charities.
Yes.
Crumlin Hospital. Everything.
Yes.
Churchgate Collection.
Churchgate collections.
It was a very important organisation for
It
people
was.
at the time,
And
wasn't
we're
it?
still doing. Even though we're gone, but we're still, the people, or the members are still collecting for Pink Ribbon Day and for Daffodil Day, and
Yes.
we're still working for the organisation.
Okay. So maybe we'll say a bit more about that in a second. Sheila, how long were you in the
Oh,
ICA?
I'm in it since the late 50s.
Yes. And tell me something about your memories of it.
Just that I was secretary in it from time to time. That time you'd have to give me only 3 years. But
Yes.
since then it was left, because no one else would do it.
The same as every
just as-
organisation
yeah.
in the country.
We look forward to it, but you know, that time we were afraid even to speak, but he brought us out for ourselves.
Yes.
You know, we sat in the back, and there was, as they said, the front table, and we were kind of looking up, and if we were asked for suggestions, no way could we open our mouth. But after a while, we got bold,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
and
Who
we,
was this now that was talking to you?
we'll say Eileen Collins now, she was a founder member,
Yes.
and Tess Neville, And Charlie Buckley's wife up near you, Peggy
Yes,
Long.
Peggy Buckley.
You remember her?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
She used to be known, I think she was long before she got
was-
married,
she
wasn't
was,
she,
yeah.
She
Peggy?
left the house.
She was
a
Peggy
niece.
Long or Peggy
She was a
Buckley.
niece of the person that owns it.
Yes.
The mineral
That was the
waters.
mineral water
It
factory,
was.
the Whale House
It
where
was.
Don
That's right.
Lomani
That's
lives
right,
today.
Exactly, that's
Yeah.
right, yeah.
I remember her actually as a child. I remember her being very involved in the
She was.
ICA.
Yeah.
Yes.
She actually, when she left it and went to Dublin, do you remember when the castle fell? We want to know, had we anybody to claim from
Yes.
on off? And anyway, we decided we'd try and find Peggy Buckley, and we did. And we got in touch with her, and she said there was nothing signed. It was a no man's land. And she said that time that we were a year short of being having squatters' rights.
Oh, yes.
Well, whether she was writing that or not, I don't know. But anyway, 4 years anyway, we were fundraising, and we were all involved in the fundraising
Yeah, what did you fundraise for?
for funds to buy a new house.
Oh, I
You
see.
see, the first hut was bought, was a lesson hut bought from the electric
GSB.
ESB.
Yeah.
So it wasn't actually the hut that's there now,
No,
we'll say.
no, we
Yeah.
bought that one from a man in Bantier,
Yes.
Kathleen Murphy, Lotta Mercenary, and Sheila Reardon, Paddy Barber's wife, and myself, the few more of us went off. We bought this thing, but it was going on for a while, and we bought for £500 plus the roofing and the plumbing.
Which was a lot of money.
It was a lot of money, but we got a loan from the credit union, 350,
Yes.
and we also got members' loan. If we all paid 10 shillings, was it 1 shilling? Sorry, 1 shilling each of us every month, and that was collected, and that was paying back for the payments from the
Yeah.
thing, and we eventually got our money back, interest free, of course.
Yes.
But they ran dances in the Castle Ballroom, and sponsored walks, raffles. We used to have a sweepstake on the Grand National. Do you remember we used to put cards into the shops?
Yes.
And all that made money.
But Sheila, the ICA was more than a local organisation in the sense that it was also very educational, wasn't
Oh,
it?
it was, yeah.
Yeah.
And they taught crafts.
Yeah. Tell me about the educational side of it.
Well, we used to we were taught crochet
Yes.
and rushwork, lumber rugs,
Baking, I suppose.
knitting, and cooking. We would have demonstrations, and we'd have talks from people, we say ranks floor, crowd know that you God know.
Yes.
They'd come and they'd show us, and Ardlums used to come and show us demonstrations and all this,
Yes.
and the baking, the cooking and stuff.
And was there a dimension of, we'll say, family life, looking after children and that side of things at all much?
No, except that we'd have pharmacists coming and telling us how to prevent stuff, and whooping cough and all this, and to help with
Oh, yes.
the first steps towards
The medical side of
yes,
things, is it?
Yeah.
Katie is over here at the far end of the table. Katie, I'll just get the microphone over to you there. Maybe you can just lean in a little bit to it. Katie, did you see a kind of a change in the role of the ICA? When did you join yourself? Roughly, how many? 45 years, is it? 42 years.
Yeah,
we won't do the maths on that now,
Yes,
but that'll
yeah.
do us fine. 42 years ago.
Yes.
Did you, like Sheila has just described, we'll say the baking and the cooking and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Now, did you see a change kind of coming in the ICA in terms of what it did, the kind of activities you were involved in, or were they always the same right up to the end?
Oh, no, there was not at all. When television and that came in, a lot of members fell away. Then it was very hard to get members to join in that.
Yeah.
No, there was a big change. Like it was very hard to get people to come to give demonstrations or anything. Then, they were more expensive in that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you say that now, I suppose you're talking about the age profile changed
Yes,
then.
yes,
Were
that
they
was it.
were they young? We say young girls, young housewives, and that in the early days.
Oh yes, I'd say there. Yes, there was. Yeah.
I mean, they were in their 20s, like, would they be?
Oh, there would be, I suppose.
Would they, Peggy?
No, not really, no.
No.
No, but any person that joined there, they all learn cookery and fashion and
Yeah.
fashion shows and all the things we did around the town.
Yes.
And
It was kind
we
of.
run dances as well and mystery tours.
Oh yes. Where did you go on the mystery tour? How did they work?
We used to, we had,
Katie, you tell me about the mystery tours.
What?
Go on.
anyone, I can't, you remember better than me.
Go on. One of you take it
Well,
up.
we'd hire the bus and
Yes.
we'd plan where we'd go,
Yes.
but we wouldn't. We'd pretend we were going somewhere else.
Oh, I see.
And we'd go to the New Bridge and turn around and go.
Because you could turn up the street.
We'd fool them all.
So only one or two people knew where you were really going,
Yeah,
was it?
yeah.
So you'd be heading for Youghal, and the next thing you'd finish up in Kanturk.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
You had a lot of fun, I'd say.
We
Did
had,
you?
yeah.
We had great,
Had you?
We had great enjoyment in it,
We
and
had
we
great-
learned an awful lot.
Did you?
we
did,
had great
yeah.
fun out of it, all right. We had great days out and nights and everything.
And
Oh,
did you
we
make
had-
good friends and that
Oh,
as
we
well?
did, yeah, with
We
the
had
other
out-
kids, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we had
Oh, we did.
Christmas dinners and
Yeah,
outings in the summer,
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
and
How much did it cost to join it?
oh, it was only
got them dear in the end, just €50.
There's no wonder you gave up.
I suppose there was a time we were joining for 5 shillings, weren't we?
It was way less than a pound.
Way less than a pound.
Yeah,
And what
it
did
was-
you say about it
They
there?
were-
It went up to what?
They were trying to make the over 90, over 70s pay less, and they were trying to make them pay 90 pence at the time.
90 pence.
90 pence.
The over 70s.
Yes.
There wasn't too many of them around the time.
Possibly, but they were not. You wouldn't know.
Well, we hope there were. Some of us that are heading in that direction very fast.
We're going back to the street tours. There was some old woman was asked, where'd she go last night in the mystery tour? I don't know, she should have the mystery.
Yeah, yeah.
No, she didn't know where they were.
She didn't know where they
That was the
were.
mystery.
She didn't even know the next day.
No. Well, it would only happen once. One person.
You had a lot of fun, I can see it.
Yeah,
Now,
it's a-
I'm looking here at this fantastic presentation, I suppose, this brief for the ICA that Peggy handed to me now, that was done out by her granddaughter.
Yeah,
And I'm looking at it just by way of information, Danger. We might just pick up on some of this stuff. It was established in 1910. Its aim was to educate women and to give a voice for women in Ireland and internationally. Women equal in society, and it instructed members on how to negotiate the complex maze of Irish political life. Let's find out if that's where Peggy's interest in politics came from. Peggy, was the ICA political?
no,
No,
No? Not in any way?
not in any way, not supposed to be anyway.
that
No.
was one policy they
Of
had.
the
turned
non-political,
political.
non-denomination.
Yeah.
And was it?
Non-political.
But ICA internationally, they were all the time, negotiating with the government on
Yes.
different issues,
Yes.
like water for rural electrification
Yes.
and water, and showing women how to make money for themselves,
Yes.
like eggs and turkeys and chickens, and there was all this education for women.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
So that they were kind of while it wasn't political, it lobbied.
lobbied, yes.
It lobbied.
Yeah.
Yeah. For better conditions, really.
It did, yeah.
For women, and I suppose when you compare the conditions for women then and the conditions for women today, I mean that women are living. Their experience of life is totally different.
Oh, it is,
It is
yeah.
indeed.
yeah,
Oh, yes.
I mean, they're all out at work now, and
true.
Yeah.
they're all involved with kind of television. And I suppose, what do they do when they want to know things about baking and cooking?
Yeah,
They probably don't know.
No,
In the same way,
yeah.
Yeah.
They Google it now.
they Google it.
yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I think, Katie, you're having a good laugh at that one, I'm sure. Talking about that now, the computers came in while the ICA hut was still open, didn't it? Did
Oh,
you
they
ever
did,
get
yeah.
instruction on computers?
No, we didn't. I didn't anyway.
No, did you, Sheila?
No,
No,
Sheila.
no, it never, it never
Not really,
happened.
I see,
But
no.
at the
If
same
Katie
time,
wanted to know anything, she'd text me.
and what did you do when you wanted to know anything, Peggy? I have to say, you're the happiest bunch of women that ever came into this place. It's a great tragedy indeed that the place actually closed down. But I'm just going to highlight a couple of more things here. Education and health, violence against women,
That's right.
That's right, yes.
child
The whole-
sex abuse. Now this is going back to 1964.
Yeah, yeah.
And those kind of issues were obviously the ICA was very much ahead in its thinking at
That's
those
right,
times.
yeah,
It
yeah.
would appear prison reform,
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
you know, environment and ecology, like
Yeah.
looking after the environment and so on. So that and the development of the Irish language was an issue, I see.
Yeah.
So obviously these were all real issues of the day.
They were,
That's
yeah.
right.
They
Yeah.
really were, weren't
Yeah,
they?
they were.
Now, I'm going to wrap this up now in a second. By the way, I had the pleasure one time, I was never a member of the ICA, let me add, but
Sure,
the
your
ICA
mother was.
headquarters on Greenawn
Yes.
Oh,
was
yeah.
used by the Department of Education
Yeah,
that's right.
for
Yeah.
courses, and I had
Right.
the pleasure of staying there one time
Yeah.
for a week, I think, probably,
Yeah.
for doing some
Course, yeah.
course in psychology
Yes,
or
yes,
something.
yes, yeah.
But did you go to Greenawn?
We
you
did,
ever-
yeah.
Did you?
We did, yeah.
Tell me
Yeah.
about your visit. You tell me, Katie, about your visit to Brien first. When did you go? Or what was happening there?
'Tis years ago, Peggy Cater up Peggy Cater, she was remember that time up the Barraclane, she went with me. But it was, there were several courses there, but anyway, it was, I was picking out the Irish one anyway, to singing, we did anyway.
Yeah.
There was several crafts there. But it was a lovely place, really.
Was it?
Was,
Which
yeah.
is all being refurbished now. Did you see that
Oh,
on
it
the
is, yeah,
television?
it is magnificent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
It
is.
is well,
Yeah.
it is
Great.
20 years now since I was there.
There
Yeah.
was great singing, you know, there was
It was on
great
the other night, and-
entertainment and everything by night there, like, you know.
Yes.
That was,
And they have the bar, I think,
was
as well
really-
now.
In the premises,
In the
is it?
premises,
yeah.
Because I remember that time we had to go up the road. There was a bar
That's right,
just up
yeah.
There's
the
a bar
road
in the
from it.
premises now, it was downstairs deep when I was there.
Yeah. What did you do there, Peggy?
Singing
Do you remember what course?
Mind your own business.
And of course, you were a businesswoman at the town. You were a businesswoman at the town, and you had to mind your own business. And did you manage to mind your own business after it?
You enjoyed it.
You enjoyed the
It
course.
was Mollop anyway.
Well, let's say there was a change of emphasis. A change of emphasis. But it was a business course, obviously.
It was, yeah.
A business
Yeah,
course, yeah.
yeah.
And at the time, did you feel the better of it?
Yeah, I enjoyed the week out anyway.
You're a very honest woman. And you did one, did you, Sheila?
When I won a competition in the fish cricket for BMI, you know, about
Oh, tell me about that.
Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was something. That's when we were grouped, Bellicary, Ballyvoney, Terrelton, Macroom, Slumorden.
Yeah.
And we just did a competition on fish cooking, and I won it, and I went up. So I got my couple of days free up there.
Very
I had to
good.
pay it all for it, yeah.
That was very nice. What did you cook?
I did soul salon, I called it at the time.
Did you?
Johnny Helm's wife was, she taught me the trick, you see.
Oh, yes.
So she helped me with it, and I got lovely stuff from Pago's mother, no, a lot of Messner. She was a member, and there were a lot of people there that.
Yes.
Anyway, she gave me some silver trays and a few more things that I was able to present.
Very good.
Of course, the presentation got most of the backers, I'd say.
You'll have to tell the people what the recipe was now, if you can remember it. Come on, tell us what it was.
It was actually, it was just 2 pieces of sole
Yes.
and stuffing made between the little bits of breadcrumbs and mushrooms, a few more things, and sandwiched.
Together?
The 2 soles, yeah. And just put in the oven and baked.
Well, do you know
And I
what?
just made a white sauce with it and presented in a lovely silver jug. and put a lovely flower on the tree, and that was
Very nice altogether.
lovely.
But you know, Ballymaloo could have been above in Kilnagarteen if you had stuck with it.
Messitown, that's it.
Messitown,
the bridge, where I lived,
Oh, the
that's
bridge,
it.
I suppose,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, of
down,
course,
down
yeah.
there at the
Yeah.
bridge. Listen, you're bringing great fun into our lives here. I'm just going to see if there's anything else here now that we ought to mention. There's so much, to be honest, about it. That's the history, Green and of course the agriculture, the farming community, did
Oh,
it
yes,
benefit?
Yeah.
How did
And
that benefit from the ICA?
an awful lot.
In what way?
The farmers' wives they were really educated how to look after themselves
Yes,
and how to make their own living.
yes.
Not to be depending at all on the farmer, like.
So you're saying that they kind of did another little kind
Yeah,
of an
they-
industry if they were
they-
selling something or
Yeah,
rearing
turkeys or
something?
chickens or eggs or even calves. They used to have their own sideline, like,
Yes, and they
on the
were-
farm.
Yeah, and they were told then about the
And
business
then they
how
got
to do it.
water, the rural electrification and the water, and they got washing machines and cookers and things as
Yes.
time went on.
Yes.
And then they got right smart altogether.
And of course
in the
they were
end.
taught how to use those
They
machines
were.
as well, weren't
They were, yeah, yeah.
I can remember, my mother was a member, God be good to her, was a member of the ICA in the past. And I remember something about a demonstration being given on how to use something like a blender now or
Oh
something.
yes,
at
yeah,
the time.
that's right, yeah.
That's right.
You know, because
Yeah.
all that machine, all that, of course, a lot of it was only being invented anyway.
Yes,
Yeah.
But it was people couldn't afford it even if it was there.
That's
and now
right,
it was
yeah.
coming into the home and homes
right.
very much in
It
your
was,
time.
yeah, yeah. And I see we're behind a lot of that.
Yeah.
And about women's health,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh,
And yeah, they did a lot on that, yeah.
Very good.
And
yeah.
fashion, we had
Yeah.
fashion shows.
Yeah, fashion show. Oh yes,
Yeah, we used to run fashion shows.
very good. And of course you used to make a whole lot of clothing and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good. I notice here the ICA today where we are now. This isn't the Macroom branch, obviously, because that's moved on. But Pink Ribbon Day now, for
That's right,
instance.
yeah, that's the,
Daffodil Day,
That's
the
right.
Women's Mini Marathon,
Yeah.
that's
all
right.
those kind of things.
We
And
never done that
the
anyway.
ICA president, of course, there is a president, isn't
There
there?
is.
Yeah.
Did we ever have a president from this side of the country? Was
No,
Peggy?
We
no,
had from
We
Cork.
had our Lord President of
Was there a
Macroom.
Gleason lady? Was there? Was
Oh,
she
there was
president?
Bridget.
Was Mrs. Collins president one time? Or she had some...
Mrs. Collins, Messitown.
Yeah.
I don't know where she was.
She wasn't
Yes,
president, she was secretary.
of the
Secretary.
Cork Federation.
Was she?
She was, yeah.
Cork Federation. That's Mrs. Collins over near
Yeah, that's
right,
near the
yes,
mill in
yes,
Messitown.
that's right,
Yeah,
Jim
I remember
Collins
her
is right.
being there. Now we better wrap it up. Peggy, can I just come over to you now? It must be sad for you, is it, that the ICA finished?
It is.
Yeah.
I miss it a lot, like.
Do you?
I would, yeah.
Yeah.
But we were always doing some little thing, like, to keep it going, you know.
Yes, yeah. And we did mention, just on a serious note, we did mention that while the ICA was not political, you yourself were quite involved in politics at local level.
Yeah, that's right.
And were you on the Urban Council for a while?
I was
Yes.
for 10 years.
For 10 years.
Yeah.
So would you think that as in terms of your own personal development, that the ICA would have helped you along that road?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think you get more confidence, like,
Yes.
in the ICA, and you'd speak out, like, I mean, I speak out too much, I suppose, but
You don't do that, Peggy.
You don't know how to do that.
You never got yourself in trouble in your life. Yeah. But seriously, you'd find that it was a great
Yeah,
confidence
yeah.
builder. And really, there's a gap there, isn't there, for young people?
there is.
There is, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how's the ICA doing nationally now, Steph, at this stage?
Well, I was reading the Examiner the other day there, Pauline O'Callaghan, she's the Cork treasurer now, and she said when I said join there was 100 guilds, there's 60 now, she said.
Oh yeah, and I suppose the membership has fallen as well.
It has, yeah, that's what she said, the membership and the guild, and there's 60 guilds closed now, she said.
Yes, yeah.
There was 100 guilds in the Cork Federation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me what you're doing now to fill the gap. What are you doing, Katie, to fill the gap?
I'm
Well-
knitting anyway.
You're what?
I'm knitting.
Are you? Good. Are you a member of the Pearls that come in here?
I am, yeah.
And that fantastic work we
But I
showed
couldn't do
that.
them now at all. I didn't do anything.
We showed that last week.
They're beautiful, aren't they?
They're very good
They are,
altogether. And
they
did you learn that? You learned it in school, of course.
I did, yeah.
And then I suppose it was developed in the ICA, was it?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, ideas.
Yeah.
And Kate, Peggy, what do you do now to fill the gap?
Looking out the window.
I'd say now when the day comes that you're looking out the window, you'll be looking from the other side in. It wouldn't be your style at all.
No, well, my race is ran. It's
Well, you're very busy with grandchildren too, aren't you? They're in and out to at great
yeah.
rate.
Oh, they are, yeah.
Yeah.
They're wonderful.
Are they?
They are, yeah.
Do you think that the young people today are as good as ever?
Oh, they are, definitely they are.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The grandchildren are marvellous, really.
In what way?
They're very caring and they're always calling and always looking after me anyway.
Yeah, well, sure,
Yeah.
that's great, isn't
Yeah,
it? Yeah.
it is, yeah.
Yeah. And you have grandchildren as well, Sheila.
Great grandchildren.
You had a great family, hadn't you? You had a great, how many? 12.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. It is no wonder you had to go out at night.
A break.
A break, is right.
break.
But God bless them all. And
that's right.
and you've how many grandchildren have you now?
Oh, I have 27 grandchildren.
27 of
and
them.
also 5 great grandchildren.
Have you indeed?
have indeed.
Well,
I
that's
have two
great.
great grandchildren.
And
Yeah.
you have two. Have
Yeah,
you?
of
That's
course.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Look, thanks very much, ladies, for coming in to us. We really, really enjoyed the interview, and I know that everybody watching it will be looking for
I know.
copies of it from
I'm
Denjo.
sure they will.
And they'll be breaking down the door to see what he ever make it, and he's slow enough to get him off him. Let me tell you.
They might join up another, I see.
They might. Well, you know the option is there if a bunch of people got together, isn't it? Do you have any kind of you don't meet together once a year or anything, do you?
Well, we
How many have you left, by the way, when it closed?
7.
Just 7.
Yes, 7.
Who were the other 4?
Norma, my daughter, and Joan O'Callaghan from Carrigafuca,
Yes.
Peggy Toomey
Yeah.
from Barrett's Place.
Yeah.
Then Hall was a couple of years ago. Who was the 7th one?
There's one more.
Mrs. Bradley.
Huh? Oh yeah, Sheila Bradley.
Sheila Bradley.
Mickey Thomas' wife.
Oh yes, was she a
Yes.
member of the ICA as
She
well?
is, yeah.
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 It's a pity she didn't come in today, or the other 4 didn't come in to see us, but you're great anyway to come and represent the organisation. And thanks very much for it.
You're welcome.
Thanks a million, you're very good.
Yeah.
If you just stay put now for a second, we'll wrap this up then, Joe. I have no doubt that you all enjoyed that immensely. I certainly did. And I suppose in some ways it kind of takes me back as well to my own youth, growing up at home when my mother used to be baking for the ICA. She used to do a walnut cake, I remember very well.
That's right.
I have a memory one time of her baking a walnut cake and putting it on the dining room table when I was a child. I suppose about 8 or 9, and I saw this cake on the table. I thought it was fantastic altogether, and I went down and I picked it up and I walked towards the kitchen with it, and there was a step in our house from the dining room to the kitchen, and down I went, fell across the step, walnut cake went scattered across the floor. That was needed for that night. I got a flake and I was put up to bed. I was put up to bed at the time, and I wasn't there long at all when she brought me down again and gave me a bit of the walnut cake while she was making another. So
Yes, very good.
God be good to them all. They were great women in their time.
Is a rich and rare land, yes, she's a fresh and fair land. She is a dear and rare land, this native land of mine. She is not a dull or cold land, no, she's a warm and bold land. Yes, she's a true and old land, this native land of mine.